I'm with Socceroos captain, Levante goalkeeper, and bilingual king, Matt Ryan, in the Spanish. I was very impressed.
En la racha que vamos y siempre he tenido la mentalidad que podemos
I
ganar a
think king is a bit of a
todos
stretch, but I guess like most things, man, I do my best.
Is that Duolingo or is that just like knuckling down tutor and stuff? Because it was very impressive.
Majority of it is tutor, but when I first started to learn back in my Valencia days, I definitely had the Duolingo app as well to help do some homework and all that. But no, definitely having a teacher explain everything and break things down for you, helps a lot.
It's very fitting. You are from Western Sydney, which I think is the most multicultural hub in Australia. You've had a very multicultural career as well. You played in so many countries, but you're back now in Spain, a place where you have a special connection with. What's that like?
Yeah, mate. I guess first and foremost, football is the reason, why I'm on these journeys, and third time in Spain throughout my career, and there was obviously a little bit of a bitter taste in my mouth that I hadn't kind of knuckled down a starting position in my two previous attempts, and as hungry as I've ever been in football, I thought that I could obviously come to the club in the situation that they were in, having just got promoted, and knowing that they were looking for a goalkeeper, and just try to come in here and do the best that I can to help the team, try and achieve our aspirations for the year, which is obviously staying up. And obviously there's a lot of details that fall into all that, but I'm just trying to give the best version of myself every day, and enjoying the ride where I can.
It's something like young footballers, they all dream of playing overseas. Mm-hmm. But I feel like something that doesn't maybe get spoken about enough is it's very tough in terms of culturally. You're learning new languages, food, even within Spain. I was just in the north of Spain. The cuisine up there is totally different to the cuisine here in Valencia. You played in a lot of different countries. What was the toughest country to play in? Maybe not necessarily like the football, but maybe the culture. Yeah. Or have you found it easy assimilating with every culture that you've been a part of?
I mean, there's obviously a lot that does go into it. I mean, especially as an Australian footballer growing up, and your dream is to play overseas and, for the biggest teams, in the biggest countries and leagues and all this types of stuff. It kind of almost needs to be, I guess, an educational course as well to help boys to be able to, and girls obviously, to be able to adapt to lifestyle changes like that you face when you obviously go on these journeys and playing in different countries, and building up obviously the resilience that is needed, building up the open mind to embrace yourself within the culture, and the ease in which it can help provide you moving forward there. And there's an endless number of benefits to going in with an open mind, and trying to immerse yourself within it all. So I mean, it's not been easy, but I think I've always just been someone, and through the books I've read and reading about, successful people, athletes, business people, and all this type of stuff, I think one thing that always kind of is a common theme throughout is, the adaptability of the individual, how they just go into certain situations and they never see any obstacle or challenge too big, and they go on that relentless pursuit of trying to get what they set out to achieve with not taking any other answer than eventually getting there one day and ticking that off. So I've just tried to, like I said, anywhere I've gone, trying to embrace myself, immerse myself within the culture, and do all that I can to help me thrive both on and off the pitch.
It's a fantastic mindset to have, and it's also fantastic seeing you back in LaLiga, playing regularly. I'm sure there are a lot of Australians maybe tuning into Levante, possibly for the first time because you're playing there. What's something underrated about this football club that you maybe don't see on TV?
I mean, the humility of the club. It's such a family-orientated club. Obviously, the longest. It's got the longest history of the city of Valencia being in the La Liga, in the top division professional club. So you really get a sense of that. The origin of the people, and that they're all connected and they all get behind the team. It's deeply enrooted within the culture of being a part of the club, fans, staff, personnel, everyone around, and it's a nice warm feeling, when you obviously walk in the door in my circumstances, coming here as a new player, and getting a taste of what it's all about.
The weather's not bad as well, eh?
Oh, mate.
Man, you play in some cold cities.
No,
and here you are, it's winter, apparently, and you got the shorts on.
mate.
It's nice.
I mean, this is obviously this part of the world.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's reminds me a lot of obviously back home, the winters that we get back home. So it's definitely a positive.
You joined another club recently, Fatherhood FC. Congratulations.
By far the most difficult club I've joined so far, you know.
What was that? The demanding manager apparently doesn't let you sleep a lot.
Yeah, mate. He's the most demanding, you know, individual I've ever probably come across, you know. The sleeping at night isn't too much of an issue. It's when he's awake during the day and only...
Very demanding.
Yeah, it doesn't like a lot of reprieve in terms of naps. He only likes the cat nap and all these types of stuff, and he demands a lot of attention. I know I'm probably speaking quite generically in that all babies demand that, but and potentially I'm being biased, but yeah, our little man, he always wants your full attention 24/7. So yeah, it's kind of difficult, you know, because obviously my partner as well, she's got a lot of friends back home in Perth where she's from, and obviously myself in Sydney where I've got a lot of friends, and you know they've all had kids in the not too distant past and all that, and you know, having the support network of your family and friends around, and being here so far away from everything. And we had a visit from her mum recently, and you know, the help and reprieve that she provided, you know, just to be able to feel that support. And then it's kind of a catch-22, because then when she goes away, you realise then how difficult it is once all that goes on. So I've got to really praise my missus, you know, what she has to go through. I think for a lot of cases, it's always more difficult for the partner, you know, because we have our purpose as the player, coming here, turning up to work each day. We got our routines and all that. And yeah, she's obviously in a foreign country where she's obviously embracing herself, the culture, and learning the language and all that. And obviously, recently becoming a mother as well, though, without the support network of family and friends around, which we're obviously trying to do our best to adapt to. But it's really tough on her. And you know, I'm in awe of how she carries herself and conducts herself. And yeah, I'm doing my best to support.
Mrs. Ryan's the MVP.
Not yet, Mrs. Ryan, but soon to be. But I've asked the question and all that. But nah, she's.
Congratulations!
Thank you. She's,
I mean, a lot of exciting things are happening.
There is a lot going on.
And when you speak about excitement, none more exciting as a football fan than a World Cup year. You're going to your 4th World Cup. How did the previous 3 campaigns help shape Matt Ryan, the footballer?
Experience in these types of scenarios, circumstances, you know, not just the World Cups, but obviously every club and level that I've played at and every game I've played, I've always tried to be an attentive person, always tried to learn. I tried to learn from my peers coming through as a young boy when I first got into the national team, and, you know, had conversations with Schwartzy, Lucas Neal, Harry Kewell, Timmy Cahill, any other teammates where I've been at any other clubs, you know, to try and always take little things from them to, you know, at the end of the day, nothing ever happens, you know, coincidentally. Everything always happens for a reason. And so these guys that I've, you know, rubbed shoulders with in the past and whatnot, playing at the highest level for as long as they have and had the success that they've had, I've always tried to be a sponge and take away any little thing that I can to help, you know, my own life and my own career be as great as it can be. And so, like I said, that experience, and then, you know, the games and the experience at those tournaments themselves and the enormity of them and all the attention on them and all that, but ultimately just getting in the mind frame and the mental state that it's another football match. And at the end of the day, I guess the thing that I try and do in terms of preparation for games is treat every game the same, whether we're playing a friendly game against a 2nd or 3rd division team here in LaLiga, or you know, the first round of qualifying in the the Asian qualifiers, or, you know, whether we're playing Barcelona or Real Madrid or whoever. I always try and prepare for each game with the same amount of respect, you know, because I never want to underestimate an opposition to, you know, to get complacent or fall into any of those traps. And, you know, playing against the best teams and best players, I don't want to give them too much respect and give them too much time and space on the ball and be in fear of them. Because obviously you give them that time and space, they're going to punish you because of their quality and their know-how of how to do that. So, I guess I'm just going to go in there and treat them like any other game, like I do, and, you know, do the best that I can for, you know, the national team. Obviously, I take nothing for granted. I've still got to do well up until then to warrant being selected and, you know, warrant being the best man for the job to get the starting spot. And I'm just focused on obviously trying to yeah, I know that that's going to be a benefit of focusing on my present here now at Levante and doing well, and those boxes are being ticked in the background.
That clincher to get us to the World Cup, the game against Saudi Arabia, that must have felt extra special for you, I can imagine, because it was the 100th game. But then also, not too long before then, you weren't playing regularly with your club. You weren't playing for the national team. So I can imagine that would have just been such a whirlwind of emotions for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, it's another moment that I'm pretty proud of myself, to be honest, in those circumstances where obviously Tony had come into the team, taken over. Every manager obviously, makes a decision based on what he feels is right. And unfortunately for me, when he first came in, he wanted to obviously trial Joe in the beginning, and has obviously given other opportunities to other goalkeepers since then as well. But I know that no one is ever entitled at the same time, and I think it's part of being a professional footballer that you need to earn the right every single day that you're the best man for the job. And I think a lot of people in that scenario, perhaps with in my opinion, a weaker mindset, might have been, chucked the toys out the pram and thought, how could someone do this to me under those circumstances and all this type of stuff or whatever like that, and perhaps maybe, quit the national team in that scenario. But like I said, just as I learned and with my approach to things and my attitude, I just wanted to knuckle down and continue working hard. And I was confident that me letting my football do the talking would get me more opportunities. And yeah, there was a moment there where I thought potentially I could maybe never have played another national team game, and that didn't sit well with me. And yeah, at the end of the day, I think obviously I want to be upset in those circumstances, and I want fellow teammates that aren't playing to be upset. But the art is in how you channel that disappointment. You don't go and channel it in a way where you're a detriment to the team and cause issues, and you focus on yourself and you be selfish and all that. You use that motivation to spur you on to bigger and better things. And just as much as the other guys, when I had been playing in the national team, were supporting me when I was playing and all that, I tried to offer that to them as well. But at the same time, being competitive, that I want that spot back as well, and finding that balance. And I mean, again, recently I've not featured in a couple of games and whatnot for the national team, and that's even just fueled me even more. And I'm just pushing to give my best and get out on that pitch as often as I can, and live my dream every day by playing professional games as a professional footballer, because there's no better thing in the world to do for me personally than that.
Do you think that the rotating of the goalkeeper has been also because, as opposed to in the past, at the last couple of campaigns, we've actually qualified quite early? So this is a chance for Tony to really work out his squad depth. Because for me personally, I think it's like, you're a captain. It's a no-brainer. I think you'll be starting in June. I
mean, potentially, you have to obviously ask Tony that, and whether he reveals that to you or not, I'm unsure. He's not revealed anything like that to me, nor do I expect him to. At the end of the day, I really like his approach in that he just expects every member of the squad to be in there.
So he keeps everyone hungry? Is that what
just expects everyone to be in there and everyone to be ready to take the opportunity when it comes. And I respect that approach, of course, and that's what the Socceroos jersey, or any jersey, it demands and deserves. Every player, like I said, has no given right just to go and waltz in there and walk in there and put the jersey on and play. You got to go and earn that right. And like I said, as a professional, you got to keep doing that every day, no matter what your career has been up until today. You're always going to be judged on how you do tomorrow in the next game and all this type of stuff. And obviously, if you're not performing up to what the starting role is for that is required within the team, then the manager obviously has every right to make changes. So I'm at the end of the day, like I said, I'm just trying to give everything I can, and that hasn't changed. It's easy in that fact, in that I turn up every day, and I live every minute, every second of my day thinking about trying to make my life the most fulfilling and joyful that it can be. And it just goes hand in hand with my football career being the exact same, trying to make that the most enjoyable and most successful that it can be. And that's why, living and breathing my football, and now obviously balancing that with the priorities of the family as well, of course. So.
You mentioned Tony Popovic. You've seen a few national team managers now. What's Popa brought in that's the biggest difference between managers in the past?
Yeah, I mean, there's always obviously subtle differences in terms of tactics and the way of play and all these types of things. There's obviously changes in that, playing sometimes with the 5 at the back, with 4 at the back, changing, those types of things. Personnel in and around the group, and the little details and nuances and how they go about things as well. But I never was in a camp with Tony as a player. I think I obviously must have just missed out on that. But by all reports, from what I heard, he was a real pro, real professional. And as I said before, nothing ever happens coincidentally. I mean, he had the career that he had as a player for good reason, you know. And I think playing at the level that he did, you don't do that without being a true professional, you know. And you definitely see that in his coaching characteristics as well, you know. The expectations he puts on the squad, not only from a level of performance in terms of what you produce on the pitch, but you know, away from the pitch as well, and looking after yourself and monitoring your diet and making sure you know sleep is in order, and the way they measure all those things, the gym programs, having the personnel that are across all those things there as well, nutritionists in there, all these types of things. So you know that, and obviously, yeah, I mean. The football speaks for itself. We qualified directly, you know. I know Arnie and him shared that reign together, but obviously he came in and took over at the beginning of that second group phase, and we qualified directly, and that was obviously different to what we had done in the past. And so, mate, I'm really enjoying the preparation of, you know, qualifying directly, and you know, other guys getting opportunities now, which they've earned as well, to hopefully make us stronger as a squad, and ultimately, when we get to these tournaments now coming up, that we can be, you know, the most competitive we've ever been, and achieve more than we've ever achieved before.
Australia produce a lot of great goalkeepers. Like even you replaced Schwartzy. I feel like Australia has produced so many great goalkeepers, and that it seems to me that competition makes you hungrier.
No, for sure.
Whereas maybe other pros, it might be a little bit demoralising, like you mentioned before. Like someone might be like, oh, I should be getting a game, but I'm not. But it seems to make you hungry and motivate you even more.
Like I said, I mean, I was also at a stage when I was younger, perhaps when I was back here in Valencia when I first came here, and I wasn't playing regularly for the first time in my career. And I don't think I handled and managed those situations as well, being a young, more emotional, you know, character that I was back then, you know, allowing things to, I guess, torment me a little bit more in the fact that, okay, I'm not playing, then why am I away from home, and all these types of questions come in, and how you manage those emotions and all that. You know, I was definitely a lot more immature, and therefore didn't have the skill sets in order to, you know, manage those situations. But I think like I said, I've learned that, no one is entitled, you know, and you got to go out there and earn every single day the right to go out and play. And I've learned that the hard way through having to learn that in experience I've had at clubs and in the national team. And I think at the end of the day, it's what gives me the most satisfaction when I'm not playing regularly. The best approach for me is that I've got to try and treat every training session like it's a game, and try to keep as sharp as I can. And when the opportunities do come, I need to be ready to take them if I want to get more of them. And so, you know, I know everyone wants to be playing regularly, and you know, everyone perceives it to be you're at your sharpest and all that when you are playing regularly and all that, and it probably is true. But at the same time, I try and just turn my mental focus to, if I'm not playing regularly, that I've almost manipulated my own head that I am playing regularly, because you almost got to be that little bit delusional to ultimately get the best out of myself on a game day. So I've played really great games when I've not played regularly. I've played really great games when I am playing regularly. Yeah. And likewise, I've played poor games when I'm not playing regularly, or when I am playing regularly. So it's hard to put an exact stamp on what the right thing is. But for me, the older I've gotten, it's more about the mental state. Yeah. You know, just making sure that I'm clear that everything is firing and in sync, and I've got that going, because I feel like that's the first domino of the piece, and then everything else kind of is a chain effect after that. You know, or the domino effect, I should say, that they all kind of fall into place. So I just, like I said, keep believing in myself, keep believing that I know that I'm good enough to play at the highest level and compete against the best and beat the best, and that's all I try to do. That's
a great mindset. And one thing I loved about all this buzz with the World Cup, Australia get the USA. And I loved Popper's reaction to it. You know, managers, they sometimes play it like they play it calm. He said, no, we're satisfied. What was your reaction to the draw?
Buzzing. I mean,
with a team buzzing is like, you get to play. I know you go to World Cup, you play whoever's in front of you. And Australia have had some tough groups in the past. You would know that. Yeah. But to get the host, to get America, I feel like the whole world is probably, apart from America, is going to be going for Australia as well. Like the lights will never be brighter
Yeah,
Are you
no,
excited?
I mean, that's the first thing you look at, when you see America and the host nation and whatnot. Yeah, and obviously playing them recently as well in that friendly match we played. It'd be nice to get some revenge on them and
was
just
a
the enormity of
It was a
the.
feisty friendly as well. It was a not too friendly, it seemed
There's
like.
a few tackles going in and whatnot. And I mean, the way I approach the game, I don't believe in friendlies at all. I want to win every game, whether it's a World Cup final or a Champions League final or a friendly warm-up game in pre-season. I want to win them all. So that my winning approach and hunger doesn't differ in that regard. So, but as I said, there's no disrespect to our other opponents in the group either. We're coming off the back of Qatar where we did things that no other team had ever done before, and the joy that brings myself and my loved ones and all that type of stuff is something that's irreplaceable. For me, with my passion and my love being football and my career, achieving stuff like that, and I think not everyone, you kind of take it for granted, or you kind of lose sight sometimes that every opportunity you get to step on that pitch and you have an opportunity to create a lifelong memory through being successful, in my sense, whether it's making a save or beating somebody, beating a team or whatever it is, and I just hope one day when I'm an old man and, when I'm retired obviously from football and then, got grandkids around and all that type of stuff, I've got so many memories that I can, hopefully tell the kids stories about, and hopefully that they're interested and not playing with their bloody, gadgets and gizmos and whatever they're doing and all that. And that's fulfillment for me, So,
Well, when the kids are on the gizmos, one thing you could do that I think will get them off of me is, hey kids, I want to tell you the story. It's the 2022 World Cup, and it was that run. I've spoken to Mark Schwarzer, and he believes that was the best Australian performance at a World Cup because it wasn't the golden generation. It wasn't the big names of 2006. No, Australia was written off. And then you have the opening game defeat. What was that roller coaster of a tournament like, and as well to do it as captain?
Like I said, I mean, I guess all those other factors, about, being captain or not being the golden generation, like, you don't think of that. All I think of is doing my best to win a football game and doing the best I can to influence those around me to all be united to do the exact same thing. And honestly, that's all my thoughts are channeled to that. My thoughts, my conversations are all channeled to that. So I know that later on when kind of things are analysed after games or after tournaments or whatever, stats come up and all these facts come up and all this type of stuff. But honestly, I just try and keep things simple, do as much things in life that I enjoy doing, that I love doing, and less of the things that I don't enjoy doing and don't love doing. And winning football games is, up there with spending time with my family as the two of the most things I enjoy the most in doing. And so I just keep it simple, simply focused on that and making sure that come the end of the day, the end of the game, the end of my career and all that, I can sit there, look myself in the mirror and know that I did everything I can to have my best career, to have my best game and all that. I know it's not always going to, pan out of playing well every game. I mean, it's the highest level for a reason. Yep. Everyone wants to do the exact same. The margin for error of playing well or playing good is so minimal if there is a margin. So it's not always going to go your way, but I feel like I've got a great know-how of what creates a winning environment and to be able to help a team be more successful. And I just try and, let all that come out in the teams that I'm representing and playing for to ultimately create as many lifelong memories through being successful as possible.
And you've still got many more memories to make. You made 100 caps. Tim Cahill, Mark Schwarzer, the only other Socceroos who have achieved that. How does that make you feel to hear your name amongst those legends?
Kind of what I just touched on, really. I didn't treat my 100th cap any different to my 99th or 1st or 3rd or 17th or whatever, Maybe people are listening and think it all sounds cliche and bullshit or whatever and all this type of stuff. But honestly, I'm just trying to play for as long as I can, as well as I can, and create as many lifelong memories as I can. And I guess one day when I make the decision for this chapter of my life to close in terms of playing football, then I guess I can, maybe take more pride in all those things. But life goes so quickly and there's always so many more games and so many more things to achieve, and you have very little time to enjoy the things you do achieve, because also one thing that I've stayed pretty constant with successful people in books I've read and things I've studied and all that, is that they're always onto the next goal. They enjoy something in the moment that they've achieved it, but come the next day, there's going to always be something more to achieve. And so in order for me to, like I say, sit back in that chair when I'm an old man one day and be able to reminisce on hopefully so much, I'm just kind of trying to take that approach and enjoy it in the present, but yeah, at the same time, still be hungry and motivated to achieve much more.
You have a great mindset. It makes me feel like you'd be an awesome mentor, which is perfect because I feel like when you look at the Australian football men's landscape, it's very exciting. There's a lot of exciting young players, like maybe a little bit of a golden generation 2.0 coming through with your Irankundas and Tourés and Chikatis. How does it feel as a captain and a senior player watching these young players come through?
I mean, it's exciting for the game, you know. I'm competitive. I'm still obviously part of that setup. So you get all this talent coming through. It excites you because you want to be the strongest team that we can be to knock off, you know, the best teams out there in the world. So, yeah, very much looking forward to, you know, what the near future and the present has in store for us now. You know, with these games coming up in March and yeah, the World Cup obviously not long after that, and so. I'm not here to obviously label anyone golden generation, golden whatever. No, like at the end of the day, the football does the talking and the results do the talking. So we did that in Qatar, and now it's our turn to, you know, to do even better. Come now when we obviously go to Canada and America, and maybe later in the tournament Mexico. I'm not sure how the draw kind of works out after that, but yeah, looking forward to it.
Okay, Matt, I've prepared a little something different to finish up. Okay, you've played in a lot of countries. I mentioned them. Make sure I've got them all. Belgium, Spain, England, Denmark, Netherlands, Italy, France. Did I miss any? I feel like I got them all.
Yeah,
it's a lot of frequent flyer points that you've racked up there. Out of all those countries, best lifestyle?
I mean, it's hard. I always in these scenarios, I always kind of sit on the fence, because there's pros and cons about all different places.
Just you know, one thing you could like Western Sydney is home, but but if you could live. If you couldn't live in Western Sydney, you have to pick one of these 7. Where would you live?
I'm gonna go with Belgium.
Yeah, nice part of the world.
Special because it was my first stop leaving Australia, where the adventure just began. Met some really great people. It was similar to Australia in the multiculturalism of the country. I feel it's obviously a smallish type country right there in the middle of Europe, and you have so much influence from everywhere. And that was like, yeah, my moment of a deer, you know, in the headlights.
Yeah.
Where I just obviously up and left Australia, landed there, and was like, what is this, you know? and that's where it all began. So I'll say Belgium.
Best nightlife?
Best nightlife? I'll probably have to say, where have I lived again? I'll have to say the UK.
London?
I went out the most. Well, that was my longest period, probably at a club in the UK, so I say there.
Best food?
Best food, I'm going to say Belgium.
Belgian food? What's the Belgian?
Well, there was a lot of, like I said, the multiculturalism.
Okay, so it's not just Belgian food.
Not just like the Belgian fries and waffles and all those types of things.
there's other stuff there.
Beer and all that. It was just kind of, you go there and, you know, it was when I was introduced to, you know, steak tartares and...
That's nice.
All these different types of way of, you know, indulging and dining and all these types of stuff. So that really impressed me when I went there.
Yeah, that stuff is really good. You've played in LaLiga now for a while. Toughest player you've ever played against?
Messi.
Messi,
Yeah. I was part of, funnily enough, obviously playing at the new camp yesterday. My only other game at the new camp was when they dusted us up 7-0 with Gary Neville as coach, and I think Messi had a hat-trick that day, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, Messi.
Toughest away ground to play at?
Difficult, huh? Difficult question. I'll have to say probably, most recent poorest result we've had, I guess, is San Mamés in Atletico Bilbao. That was a difficult day for us, and there's a good atmosphere there. So.
Biggest goalkeeping pet peeve? 'Cause I'm talking specifically about commentators when they talk about goalkeeping. Because I can imagine it'd be quite frustrating, hearing commentators say stuff like, near post should be saving that. Like, is there something that you hear from commentators when they critique goalkeepers and you just think to yourself, that is absolute rubbish?
Yeah, it's just
If not all of it.
when a goal has been conceded and they want to pick something for the reason as to why the goal happened, and they just go straight for the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
The goal can be in the top corner or something, in one of the corners, and
they go, keeper should have saved that.
Yeah, the keeper should have saved that, something like that. It would probably have to be something along those lines. So basically showing that they've never been a goalkeeper in their life.
I've got something to show you now to finish up. This happened when we drew Americans chirping a little bit.
This is a dream scenario. Are we kidding? When I saw Australia, I said, okay, it's meant to be.
It's Australia. The United States will play Australia in Seattle, boys. Grella, how's that?
Layup for the US.
This is a dream scenario.
What's your reaction when you see that?
Mate, straight over my head, I mean, people like that, they're not even worth giving
You don't even
a
give
reaction.
energy to it, no?
It's not even worth acknowledging, It's like critics in opposition fans and all that. Just get on with the job and let the football do the talking. So straight over my head, mate.
Is Popper the type of person, do you think that, he strikes me as the type of person like that would motivate him?
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past him to...
That pops up in the team talk?
To bring it up, something like that. If he feels like it can be extra motivating or whatnot. But I guess just for myself personally, I don't need any extra motivation.
You're already motivated.
I'm hungry, I'm ready, so...
I love that. You got me pumped up listening to that as well. Matt, thank you so much. It's a massive year for you. First things first, Levante, they're going to survive, and then another fairy tale run at the World Cup coming up in 26.
Lots to look forward to.
Thank you so much, brother.
Appreciate it.